A sophomore midfielder number 10, Grace Spade. A junior forward number 11, Casey Jameson. A freshman defender number 16, Sophia Palladino. A sophomore midfielder number 17, Rebecca Ernest. A junior midfielder number 18, Madison Martin. A freshman midfielder number 22, Rachel DeRuby. And a senior defender number 28, Elise Lawson. The Flames are coached by Lang Wiedemeyer and assisted by Brandon West and Audrey Atkinson. Now let's meet the starters for your Lady Bisons. A freshman goalkeeper, number 1, CJ Graham. A sophomore defender, number 2, Shelby Kraft. A junior midfield, number 3, Cammie Rogers. A junior midfield, number 5, Kelly Byler. A sophomore defender, number 6, Katia Hanger. A sophomore defender, number 8, Logan McFadden. A sophomore forward, number 9, Emanuela Schuick. A sophomore forward, number 16, Cammie McGee. A junior defender, number 21, Emily Patty. A senior midfield, number 25, Caitlin Eccles. And a sophomore forward, wearing number 26, Molly Grant. The Bisons are coached by Kevin O'Brien and assisted by Leah Fortune, Shannon O'Brien, Nathan Chatfield, and Kate Mason. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
As the sun sets over South Nashville, it rises on the aspirations of Lipscomb and Liberty, the Bisons and Flames. Atop their division, the winner of the matchup tonight goes to the very top of the table halfway through the conference slate. Welcome, everybody, to the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Wes Bowling alongside soccer analyst extraordinaire Ben Wright. Ben, tonight a battle between two of the hottest teams in the A-Sun.
Yeah, on one hand you have Liberty, who I think have struggled to put the ball in the back of the net a bit this year, probably due for an attacking breakout at some point, and then you have Lipscomb, who will be hoping that it doesn't happen against them tonight, looking to get back to their winning ways. I think two teams who play somewhat similar stylistically, and it should be an entertaining and pretty open match tonight.
As you can probably hear over our crowd mic, you're going to need to tether yourselves to your seats tonight. If you're not going to be blown away by the wind that's blasting the face of the pitch, you might be blown away by the Lipscomb attack. 7 goals in their last 2 conference matches. The Bisons confident moving forward, victims of a shutout against Alabama on Sunday, but hey, that's an SEC opponent, and they're ready to get back to their attacking ways.
Yeah, and I think they had good moments. I mean, it was a close loss to a really good opponent, so I don't think they'll be beating themselves up too much. But yeah, they had moments, and I think overall this season they've been really good going forward, so I think they should expect to continue that here tonight.
The Bisons with the best attack in the A-Sun, the Flames with the best defense. They're red hot because they're turning their opponent's attacks ice cold. What are they doing so well?
I think they're just limiting good chances. I mean, they've given up a fairly average number of shots, but I think the quality of the chances that they've given up hasn't been anything insane. So I think they've done a good job keeping the game in front of them, keeping their lines compact, and really forcing their opponents to just look for half chances instead of the clear-cut chances that they're going to want.
Liberty comes into the match 2-1-0 in ASUN play, 3-2-2 overall, and they've just allowed 1 goal in those 3 conference contests. They've yet to score multiple goals in a game this season. Not the case for Lipscomb, who put up 4 against Kennesaw State and then a 3 spot at North Alabama before stepping out of conference play. They are 2-0-0 in league play and looking to stay unbeaten on a gusty night in South Music City. It is the Bisons who will take the initiative left to right in gold across your screen, and we are underway in South Nashville. Here on the corner of Shackelford and Belmont, a big showdown as each team plays each other team twice in the ASUN schedule this year in this COVID-affected season. This is the first time these teams have played each other. 2 of the arguable favorites in the division going up against each other. Again, Liberty 2-1, Lipscomb 2-0, so the winner will be in sole possession of first place in the division. Liberty, its first time on the ball. That's going to be a goal kick for a new starter tonight in net. CJ Graham gets the start for the Bisons. The redshirt freshman, her 2nd start this season, but first ever in conference play. She won that debut against ETSU. That was a 2-1 Lipscomb win right here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. And in talking with Coach Kevin O'Brien, Ben, before the match, he said, you know, she's going to have 4 years to potentially be the starter for us, and this is a chance for her to show what she can do in a conference match.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a position that you don't want to change unless you have to. But I think in his case, he has 2 solid goalkeepers to choose from, and at this point, it's just about figuring out which one's in form and which one can get them farthest in tournament play coming up here shortly.
So challenging. Most seasons, you have an entire non-conference slate to experiment. That's not the luxury that is afforded to these ASUN teams this season with the move to spring and a very mixed schedule. Stepped outside of conference play to take on Alabama Sunday. They'll play Vanderbilt later this year amidst the conference campaign as Liberty's press nearly results in a mistake. But Lipscomb able to unfurl the other way and break out. Lipscomb in a 4-3-3 formation. We mentioned Graham in net. Center backs in front of her are Logan McFadden on the left, Katya Hanger on the right. Left fullback today is Shelby Kraft, starting in her 3rd position in as many matches for this team. Emily Patty earns another start on the right flank. In midfield, the anchor is Caitlin Eccles. Kelly Byler, scorer of 5 goals in her last 4, will be the box-to-box midfielder, and Emanuela Schueck, the Swiss, to her right, as Liberty seeks to open up this Lipscomb defense just over a couple minutes in. We'll get to the rest of that lineup in a minute. Kelly Jamieson dispossessed, and then Lipscomb able to win a goal kick thanks to the clever play of Patty in defense. Up top for the Bisons, Molly Grant, the talisman, the target, flanked by Cammie Rogers and Cammie McGee. Cammie times 2, 2 wings named Cammie, both very effective passers for this team. Liberty, we'll see what formation they come out in and evaluate that throughout the early frames of this match. Molly J-Rowe is the keeper, we know that much. Meredith Martin, Sophia Palladino, Cora Dunning, Rebecca Ernest are the defenders, and those defenders being tested here. Across the face of the final third goes the pass from Cammie McGee, dispossessed. Last gasp defense by Liberty, and then the foul is going to go Liberty's way. In midfield for them, Rachel DeRuby, McKinley Burkett, and Eliza Lawson. And it is Casey Jamieson, Grace Spade, and Meredith King up top. King, the star to watch along the right wing, had the game-winning goal against North Alabama their last time out. Foot race here, McGee battling for it with Meredith Martin. A tussle along the touchline, and it will be a goal kick for the Flames. As the sun goes down and the wind picks up, it's about 62, 63 degrees, but it's one of those nights that feels chillier depending on how hard the wind's trying to insult you at the time. It is a confrontational wind, about 20-mile-an-hour gusts, pretty much sustained winds of 5 to 10. But as you know, Ben, as a former player yourself and still an avid player when you can on Sundays, wind can really make an impact.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tricky for Lipscomb anytime they try to play the ball over the top here for both sides, but especially for them. I think we've seen Molly Grant tend to get isolated up top, and at times they can resort to playing balls over the top for her. That's going to be harder to do tonight. And then for both goalkeepers, just anytime you get a ball into the box, it's going to be tricky. You're going to have to pick your moments to come out, and then make sure when you do come out that you get a strong hand on the ball, because the ball is going to be moving and it's going to be unpredictable.
Takeaway for Cammie Rogers. Plays a speculative through ball ahead, looking for Grant, who gives chase, but is beaten to the ball by the right side of that Liberty defense. A formidable defense. Again, we mentioned just 1 goal allowed in their first 3 conference contests. They have not allowed multiple goals in a game this season. And Liberty, actually, the last team to beat Lipscomb in conference play right here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. Happened back in 2018. And it's been more than 500 days since Lipscomb lost a conference match. It came to this Liberty team in Lynchburg the next year in 19. So it's a team that since joining from the Big South has 2 wins over Lipscomb Bisons. Rarely in the losing column against conference foes for long, looking to break that streak.
And Wes, so far tonight, they've come out and played a pretty high line of confrontation. They're really making it tough for Lipscomb to get past the midfield line. Whenever the ball gets near midfield, Lipscomb immediately has a couple defenders on them. It's a high press, and they're not making it easy for them tonight.
Logan McFadden, the left center back, marauds forward into Lipscomb's attacking half before she is neutralized. McFadden starts at center back. It's her natural position. Also can play and does often play left back, so not afraid to get forward, as you can see, taking a chance there as Lipscomb tries to figure out the equation to break through that high line. Service into the box here, far side. Chance for the Bisons and a save. On the left flank, it was Cammie Rogers applying the pressure and generating the first shot on target for the Bisons, but Melody J. Rowe up to the task of getting the stop, and Lipscomb foiled in the 8th minute.
And that all started with Shelby Kraft here on the right, and that was a really excellent ball. We saw it at times against Kennesaw State, and now she's playing in a little bit of a wider role, and I think has more freedom to get up and put that kind of ball into the box. I think that could be a really strong outlook for them tonight.
Kraft, one of the most incisive players on this team, has lined up at center back and central midfield, and today at left back has been referenced. She is the Swiss Army knife of this team, can play all over the pitch, and very dangerous. She wears number 2. The most dangerous player, arguably, for Liberty also wears number 2. That's Meredith King, the freshman, who scored her first career goal, the game winner in the 84th minute against North Alabama, last time out for this team over the weekend. Liberty dominated the shot tally, but as has been the theme for them this year, plenty of shots, not a lot of goals. And Kevin O'Brien has a great amount of respect for this Liberty attack. You see a team that limits chances and you're tempted to call them a defensive team. I think we've had plenty of discussions with Nashville SC coach Gary Smith about that. I think they would likely claim, as does Gary with his team, they're organized and still try to get forward and be bright and ambitious. And I think the stats bear that out for this team. Liberty is second in the ASUN in shots taken.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can set your team with a strong defensive foundation, I mean, that's always a really solid place to start. And if you're creating chances, a lot of time it just takes 1 or 2 goals to really jumpstart the attack. I think for Liberty, they could well get a goal or 2 and put a lot of those issues behind them. They're creating chances.
Lipscomb coach O'Brien says he really respects the technical skill of this Liberty team. He thinks that his squad might have an edge in athleticism, whereas Liberty is a very technical group. And you can see the quick one-touch passes trying to open up space there as we speak, although Lipscomb is able to come away this time. Byler looking for a combination with Rogers along the far flank. The breeze still absolutely blasting us here, as here's a chance for Liberty to blast down the far channel. And a tremendous neutralization there. It was McFadden coming in and helping out Rogers, tracking back. Might Lipscomb counter. Contact from behind here on the break. Byler goes down, and there's going to be a stoppage of play here, which could and probably should indicate a yellow card for the professional foul, and that's exactly what is going to be given by the referee.
I mean, as a defender, you got to take that foul. Lipscomb was on a counter, had numbers going to goal. I don't think she'll be too upset to take a yellow card in that situation.
Among the things that haunt a manager, a 9th minute yellow card. But Burkett earns that. First booking of the match and the first booking of the season for Liberty. They were yellow cardless through their first 7 matches, one of 2 teams in the conference to not be booked yet. That streak ends, and Burkett's going to have to be careful from here on out. University of Tennessee transfer. The professional foul, the smart play, and if there is a player that you want to try to neutralize like that, it is Kelly Byler. 5 goals for her this season in 4 games, or the last 4 games, that is. A hat trick against Kennesaw State. She is ever so clever and quick. Liberty setting up passing triangles just inside its attacking half. Lipscomb settling into its shape, and the Flames will switch the field over to the far channel. There's Mackenzie King. Meredith King, rather, sorry. Whoever wins tonight will sit on top of the division table in the A-Sun. Lipscomb does have 1 game in hand, unbeaten 2-0. Yet to play Bellarmine. It's Bellarmine, Kennesaw State, Liberty, and Lipscomb in this division of the 9-team A-Sun Women's Soccer League.
Wes, it's been really interesting to see how Liberty uses their center backs. They're not afraid to drop it back to them under a little bit of pressure to kind of relieve some pressure in midfield and then spring an attack going forward.
Speaking of pressure, Kraft trying to apply some down toward the right side of the box. Skillful takeaway. Liberty looking for space to break out. Some physical contact early in this match. These two teams not afraid to mix it up, and there's the whistle now after he initially played advantage. The referee will call that back and give Liberty the free kick.
Yeah, neither team is afraid to go into a challenge here tonight.
And we expected both teams to play a fairly high line of confrontation. And as you've mentioned, we've seen that. Center backs coming forward, even into the attack at times, but certainly applying pressure in midfield and trying to create mistakes. Lipscomb sat back more than it would have liked against Alabama, as Eccles tries to whip that ball in. And Shielding, the Liberty center back, is able to win the goal kick. And I think the idea that Kevin O'Brien wants to see his team develop tonight is to get back to their identity, which is to play that higher line, to be more aggressive and assertive. And honestly, we saw it in the second half against Alabama. They sat back and I think were maybe a bit wowed by the Crimson Tide's technical skill, but once they got used to that, settled into their game and had some chances of their own, started stringing together some passes, and gave Alabama some problems. In fact, both teams had the same amount of shots on goal in that contest, 3 apiece. Eccles fans it out, left side. Emily Patty, 2 assists for her this year, tied for top in the A-Sun. This ball sent in, dangerous, and just past the pace of Cammie McGee, who was just a step and a half shy of having a real chance for the Bisons.
Yeah, they've been really targeting McGee so far. She's had a couple of really nice runs up the right, as well as that ball that she just came a little bit short of it at the end there. But I think you can see they've been targeting her and really trying to get her onto the ball up this right flank.
The sophomore started her first career match a couple of matches ago, and she has not vacated her spot in the lineup since. McGee from Collierville, Tennessee, the Collierville High School Dragon alum. Typically, you can find her along the right wing, aside Molly Grant and Cammie Rogers in that 3-person attacking unit.
This is going to be interesting here. She's lining up like she's going to try to play this into the box, but she's kicking into the wind. It's a tough ask to get the ball 40 yards up there.
Set piece sent in Dunning, and she gets it there. Far post, headed out of play, goal kick, Lipscomb. Boy, I was skeptical too, but once it got up into that swirling wind, I think the wind might have carried it a little bit.
Yeah, the wind caught it and held it up there for a while. Yeah, that's going to be one to watch all night. If they can get service like that into the box a little bit closer to goal, it can cause a lot of issues for goalkeepers. So yeah, I want to see what happens with those.
CJ Graham is saying, great, my first conference start, you're going to put me in a windy night like this. Adds an extra element of difficulty for sure. It has been Lipscomb who's carried play, I must say, early on in this contest. And the Bisons have a shot on goal to show for it. Early effort saved. Trying to cobble together some passes and generate pressure on this Liberty defense. A hard tackle there by McFadden, but she loses out. Liberty doesn't have numbers here, but they do have space on the flank, and they're going to try to use it. Casey Jamison cut off at the pass. That was Eccles coming back, the sure-footed defender, and shielding her. It'll be a throw for Lipscomb. Clever play by the central midfielder to adjust.
She's been everywhere so far tonight.
No, you are not in the Wizard of Oz, and we are not in Kansas. It is just a gusty night here in Nashville. There's a tent above us, and so far it is holding strong. So far, man of the match, zip ties. Lipscomb into the attacking third. It's Byler. Sorry, that's Cammie Rogers. Rogers sends one through, tries to at least. Stabbing out a foot is Dunning. Cora Dunning, preseason ASUN Defensive Player of the Year. If there's any question about the quality of this Liberty defense, you have the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, and you have the preseason, or the reigning ASUN Goalkeeper of the Year in Melody J-Rowe, who's already made one save tonight. Look at all that space along the flank for Lipscomb in its own end. Rogers taps it forward, and an effort off target attempted by Shook. It was deflected just outside the 6. This team's starting to settle into a bit of a rhythm here, but I think we might just keep seeing a wide open contest.
Yeah, the past couple minutes, they've finally started to establish some possession more towards the final third. They had a lot of the ball kind of in their own half and right around midfield, and they're starting to push that forward a little bit here. If they can sustain some of that and start creating a little bit more consistent chances, I think they should be in good shape.
Lipscomb yet to allow a Liberty shot. The Bisons don't typically score early. Earliest goal they have scored this season was in the 21st minute. They try to wear you down, figure out your shape. And Kevin O'Brien admitted as much to us pregame. He said, I think the first 5 minutes or so will be these teams just trying to feel each other out. He wasn't exactly sure how Liberty was going to line up. They have had a lot of different formations early in this season, and Lipscomb's deployed a lot of different looks too. This ball chipped over the right side. What a ball here. Shelby Kraft sprinting toward it, wins a throw. Nothing more, though, thanks to the skillful defensive Madison Martin. Kraft heaves it in. This Liberty defensive midfield looks like it has adhesive on its boots. Does a great job disrupting what Lipscomb's trying to do as they seek to cobble together passes. King, wide to the right, on the wing to Ruby, and once again it's Logan McFadden disrupting. It's breezy tonight, but it's not been easy in the attack so far for either team. Just one combined shot here in the 18th minute of play. Lipscomb and Liberty battling for possession of the driver's seat as that shot sails high, but only just. Speculative effort by Casey Jamieson, and her eyes looked bigger than her foot there for a second, but that wasn't a bad effort.
It wasn't far off, and with a wind like this, I mean, you might as well try something like that from deep every once in a while. I mean, the wind can just pick the ball and move it around and cause problems for the goalkeeper. I don't think that's a bad shot to take.
Jamieson, the junior, top returning scorer for this team, 5 goals a year ago, has 1 tally so far this year. Liberty has scored just 4 goals in its first 7, 1 goal each by 4 different players. As Byler gets into a battle, loses out. I guess the long shots, too, might open up the center backs as well, right? It forces them to come out.
Yeah.
Players in the midfield, and then you can create runners in between underneath.
Yeah, if you can get numbers up, I mean, who knows, the goalkeeper is going to have a hard time holding on to it tonight. So if you can get players following your shot up, you can get a rebound, get bodies into the box, and who knows what happens. I mean, if you can cause some chaos, it's a good problem for the other team.
Space for the Flames. Down the far wing, sent in. Awkward bending service. Ultimately falls harmlessly across the goal line. But even on efforts like that, which wouldn't even trouble you as a keeper normally, C.J. Graham has to be white-knuckling and really thinking when that ball's past her, you just never know what the wind could do.
Yeah, and I mean, it was close for Liberty, too. If they could just get a run on the back post, that could have been a much more productive effort. But it's a good ball into the box. They've had a little bit of joy up this right side.
It's Meredith King's territory. Freshman who has been awe-inspiring, leads the team in shots and shots on goal, and the run she had to beat North Alabama was sublime. Might she try some similar magic here? Instead, it's a mishit. Bisons try to break. That was McFadden again in defense, joined by Patty, and now on the right channel it's Kraft. Traversing into the middle of the pitch, Shelby Kraft. I'll tell you what, both number 2s tonight can flat out play. Pass is not true. Sorry, Ben.
No, getting an up close view of Kraft here on this right side has been fun so far in the first few minutes tonight.
Shelby has refined her craft, if you will, pun intended, the sophomore transfer from Penn State, the only player to go every minute so far this season for the Bisons. And Coach Kevin O'Brien compares her to a Julie Ertz, a player who can have the sure-footedness of a center back, but also the vision and the mindset of an attacking midfielder all in one package. And that means she can play all over the pitch, and she has so far this season for the Bisons.
Yeah, she's been really smart with her movement even before she gets the ball. You'll see she dips the shoulder and throws the defender off before it even gets to her and opens up a half yard of space. That's a really impressive move.
How often do you see a free kick from one's own end attempted to be sent into the 18? That's what Liberty's doing, trying to take advantage of the swirling wind. Lipscomb wise to it. Step over move. Beautiful there. Absolutely sublime. That was Emanuela Schuick. And ultimately a whistle goes against Eccles and the Bisons.
That's more space than we've seen Liberty allow in their half than we've seen most of the night. If Lipscomb can get a cleaner touch and take an advantage of that, I think you saw Grant maybe poke at it a little bit and let it get away from her. If she can bring that down, they have runners, and I think we could see them start to cause more problems. Yeah,
I beg your pardon. That was Grant and not Eccles on the whistle after losing out. And a foul the other way will go in Lipscomb's favor as we are nearly to the halfway mark of the first 45. Scoreless in Music City. Likely what we expected when Lipscomb's trying to pick its way through the best defense in the A-Sun, but I think we would be shocked to see a scoreless draw carry for the full 90 here. The way that Lipscomb attacks and the way that Liberty can put together passes and create chances themselves, it's only a matter of time before the dam bursts for them.
It's been interesting so far. I think DeRuby has played in a little bit of a free role underneath the striker for Liberty, and she's really pinned Eccles back and made the rest of the midfield kind of have to pick and choose their moments to get forward. So I think that Lipscomb's midfield has been pinned back more than they would have liked so far, and it's kind of left Grant on an island.
It looks like a 4-3-3 with two central mids beneath DeRuby and then DeRuby beneath the forward, if I'm seeing that right.
Yeah, I think you could call it a 4-4-1-1.
That's fair, and that's the role that DeRuby plays so well. She's also just fine with switching places with the striker and confusing those center backs.
And it's been a pretty free-flowing line for Liberty so far. You've seen Jamison come in centrally and DeRuby go out wide. I think they have a little bit of license to move around. And that really causes problems for defenders. You're not sure who to pick up, which defender to go where. It can cause a lot of problems and kind of disorganize a defense that is usually pretty well organized.
So the key then for Lipscomb in breaking through this relatively ironclad defense is what? Is it trying to string together more possession? Is it going direct over the top? We'll see the latter here. Through ball into the box. Taken down by Cammie McGee. She'll settle it toward the far corner flag. I asked you a question and then Lipscomb nearly answered it, but what would your answer be?
I think you got to push your lines higher. I think Kraft has been really good, but she's been pinned back a little bit and hasn't got up into the final third, I think, as much as she needs to. You've seen McGee kind of get onto the end of some balls, but they've been a little bit speculative. I think you gotta push your midfield up, get bodies around Grant so that when she does knock the ball down, you have options to maintain possession, and it's not just hitting it up to Grant and hoping that she can hold on to the ball and let the rest of the team move forward. You got to start pushing those lines up earlier.
Bison's trying to find the code to unlock this Liberty defense, but it is the Flames pressing forward now on their attacking end. To Ruby, wide to King, slips it forward, and an ambitious challenge by McFadden trying to cut her off. It went through, but thankfully for Lipscomb, the Flames attacker, Grace Spade, slipped and wasn't able to come onto it. I like the ambition of McFadden. She plays center back like a fullback, charges forward and isn't afraid to try to dispossess and move things the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, and she's played at fullback a couple times and clearly is comfortable with the ball at her feet, but also isn't afraid to go into a challenge. And she hasn't let anything by her so far. She's really locked down that left side, and she's done a good job keeping things quiet on her side.
Rock solid. McFadden, second on the team in minutes, has contributed in the attack this year as well. She had an assist against Kennesaw State. Sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama, one of number of underclass women on this team who have contributed and represent an extremely bright future for this Bison's program.
Yeah, she's not playing like a sophomore.
Not at all. I had to double check my notes there, and I'm familiar with this Lipscomb team, and even still, sophomore doesn't ring right to me when you look at McFadden's skill and confidence. Byler clicks it forward for Schuick. Step over there, back to Kelly. Byler, her favorite spot just outside the 18, presses forward for Grant, cries for handball, and those cries have been answered. Now, where was it? Just on the edge of the box, it appears. And you hear a collective groan among the supporters as they had hoped that that transgression had taken place inside the 18. Instead, it is just right on the edge of the penalty area and a dangerous free kick opportunity for the Bisons.
Yeah, we're going to get a look at the replay coming up here. I think that was right on the line. But that's what happens when you push your midfielders up and give Grant some more options. You saw some more sustained pressure right outside the box, and good things come from that.
And we just saw it again up here, and it very much looked like it was inside the area to me, by a step or two. So perhaps a break for the Flames. What can Lipscomb do to answer? The shot saved off the crossbar. McGee tries to keep it in. Is she able to do so? She is. She is not, rather. That was Emanuela Schuick. And what a save from Melody J-Rowe. A testament to why she was the ASUN goalkeeper of the year a season ago. That looked like that was going to be upper 90 all day long. What a sprawling save that was.
I did not think she was going to get to that. That was a really well done save. Just tipped it onto the bar. Good, well taken free kick too.
Schuick stepped into it, a quality effort, right on target. About the only place you think you can put it that Melody J-Rowe is not going to be, and yet she seems to be ubiquitous in front of net. And that is a big reason why Liberty has the best goals against average in the ASUN. Whistle there. King called for the foul.
Tell you what, it's harder to. You can't place a shot much better than that. That was a really world-class save.
Highlight of the night so far for either of these teams. Lipscomb's second shot on target, and the second one denied by J-Rowe. That one by far the best chance of the night, though, for Lipscomb. On the other end, C.J. Graham yet to be tested, the Lipscomb keeper. But still more promising from the Bisons, and I think that's a situation where if you're Kevin O'Brien, another whistle here as Shelby Kraft goes down hard. If you're Kevin O'Brien, you have to say, look, we're not on the board yet, but the action has been much more positive in the last 5 or 6 minutes than it was a bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a really good job withstanding some of the early pressure. I mean, it felt like in the first 5-10 minutes they couldn't get the ball out of their own half, and now they're able to get into better areas in the final third and really start creating.
Kraft sends this one in, cued high and out of danger, as both teams are taking advantage of every set-piece opportunity they can, not just to restart the attack, but to try to send it into the danger area.
And Liberty's really dropped their lines back. They had been challenging every ball as soon as it crossed the midfield line, and now they're sitting back and not really going after things until the ball's closer to the penalty area. So Lipscomb has them on the back foot here.
Lipscomb much brighter. The Bisons are on the move. Can they make it count? Shelby Kraft will toss it in on the edge of the attacking third. In for Grant, one-touch pass out for McGee. McGee spins the defender. Strong defense yet again, 2-on-1, and Lipscomb has won another throw in here. That's Meredith Martin in defense, teaming up with her center back compadre. It's Sophia Palladino. Grant for McGee, miscommunication. And Liberty escapes, and now we'll see a substitute come in for the Flames. It's Chloe Marr getting her first action of the night. The wing freshman from Durham, North Carolina, of whom Coach Lang Wiedemeyer says flat out she's a goal scorer. One goal this year, debut goal, came against Western Carolina. He says she is good with her back to pressure and strong at positioning herself in the attack. It is Lipscomb, though, in position and knocking on the door. By far the more assertive team over the last 7 or 8 minutes. The Bisons trying to find their way through the Liberty defense we thought they had on a free kick that was somehow saved. Molly Grant chases this one toward the goal line. She doesn't need to catch it. It's going to be a corner kick for Lipscomb. The first corner of the night for either team comes here in the 31st minute. And trotting over to take it will be Cammie Rogers, one of the best passers on this team. The wind starting to swirl again as she steps to the near corner flag.
Yeah, that wind's going to be coming right at her.
She's going to have to drive this one to get it where she wants it to go. Some backspin on it, cued away yet again. Rogers using that speed to come up from the corner flag and try to converge on the ball. Instead, it is Chloe Marr who interrupts her progress and sends it down toward midfield. Nonetheless, Lipscomb shining brightly here, creating chances, corner kicks, free kicks outside the area. And you have to think it is only a matter of time unless Liberty can change tack and adjust their tactics and try to break the other way.
Yeah, I mean, Liberty haven't, I can't think of really any chances Liberty have created so far, other than that one shot from miles out. It's the past 10, 15 minutes, it's been all Lipscomb. And if they can keep getting numbers forward like this and keep generating pressure, I think it's just a matter of time before they start taking more sustainable shots.
Molly Grant, the target. Back to Schuick. Forward now. Beautiful pass to McGee. Sent in. Grant shoots. Saved yet again. Melody J-Rowe has the lock, and she's not giving away the key. It's a corner for Lipscomb. But on their third effort on net of the night, once again, J-Rowe holds true. And what buildup that was for Lipscomb.
That was great buildup, and probably one that Molly Grant will want back. If she puts that a yard to either side, I mean, you have to think that's a goal. Really good passing move, though, overall.
Yeah, that was all. Schuick, McGee, Grant. 1, 2, 3, tic-tac-toe. Corner kick goes to the outside of the box and is easily dealt with. Sent back in by Kraft. Headed away. Might Liberty find some space to operate here? Flames on the counter. And a miscommunication is going to send it toward the Lipscomb bench. Liberty able to keep it in play. But you go back to that sequence that led up to yet another denial by the reigning ASUN Keeper of the Year. And as you see a confidence there from the Bisons, they really seem to be playing their way into this match and feeling themselves after really trying to feel things out for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and they're pushing their midfield forward. They're giving Grant passing options, and it's not just one striker on an island, but you're getting the entire lineup. I think if they can keep doing that, if they can keep pushing those two outside midfielders up, and letting Eccles just kind of lock things down defensively, I think they should be able to find more opportunities like that around the box.
Kraft heaves it in for Grant. Back to Shelby. Shelby Kraft traverses toward the middle of the field. Forward for Byler. Back heel pass. And Grant wasn't quite ready for that. Liberty positioned well. What an entry there by Byler. Trying to connect. The technical skill of this Lipscomb team on display.
Yeah, you're starting to see they're having a lot more ideas right around the box.
Grant taps it off the shoulder of the defender Martin, out for another corner kick, the second of the evening now for the Bisons. Third of the evening for Lipscomb. Shelby Kraft will be the one to take this one. The Bisons looking for their breakthrough. They've been on top in every category but the scoreboard. Once again headed down and away and then cleared. That was Chloe Marr sending it back as far as the Lipscomb center back core. Katya Hanger to Eccles and forward, and a foul.
You saw just there, the defender didn't pick out the pass, but everybody was pushed over to this right side, and Lipscomb had acres of space on the left. If they can just drop the ball back to a center back and switch field quickly, they're gonna have a pretty big numbers advantage on that side. If they can just see the pass and take advantage of it.
Danger here for the Bisons in their own third. And if they go to that left side, they have one of the best passers in the A-Sun over there, Cammie Rogers. Has tremendous vision and speed on that wing. It's Kraft marauding forward now. Shelby Kraft slides a pass forward the direction of Grant. Those two have tried to connect numerous times this half. Contact, fans with a shout there. No whistle. Liberty maintains possession. King spins and surges forward, but Emanuela Schuick says, no thank you, ma'am. Back to Kelly Byler. Dangerous back pass the direction of McFadden, who just has to clear that past her teammate. That's Audrey-Ann Beck. Lissy Gordon, Maddie Oliver in for Liberty, and Rogers comes back in for the Bisons after taking a spell. Under 10 minutes left in this first half, no score between the two top teams in this division of the A-Sun. Conference match number 3 for Lipscomb, number 4 for Liberty, of a total of 8 for both teams this season. 2 times against each division opponent. I believe I neglected to include North Alabama in my previous rundown of the 5 teams that are in this division this year. The realignment for pandemic purposes has us all a little bit shook up.
So here McGee and Kraft have kind of switched, and you have McGee playing more as the right back and Kraft pushing further forward.
And that's what Kraft does, right? She can do everything from center back to right wing. Ball forward for Grant toward the elbow. Plays it to herself. Tries to circumvent the defender and send it in. Header skipped off the head of Rogers, and it's going to bounce all the way over to the other side of the pitch, out of play. And a whistle and more substitutes are going to come in as the reserves are adding up. 4 replacements coming in for the Bisons. Evie Reeder in for her first appearance tonight. Haley Williams as well. Reeder, the freshman from Roswell, Georgia, has 2 goals to her name this year. And Haley Williams, often the first forward off the bench for this team, was against Alabama and played well in reserve action. Lipscomb once again knocking. Liberty answers. Hanger lobs this one into the breeze. Cued high by Annie Slovak. Slovak serving as a check on this Lipscomb attack. I don't know if you caught the Central European pun there, or if you just choose not to acknowledge it. You chose not to acknowledge it, which was probably the move I would make.
I was looking the other direction.
Yeah, rolling your eyes, right?
I figured it was only a matter of time before you started flipping some puns in.
Well, you know me well. Flames trying to play it out from their back line and trying to create something. The equation just hasn't been there for them in the attack, but here's an opportunity. Ball launched forward the direction of Chloe Marr. Marr, marked by Kraft, will shield and let this go out for a corner kick, the first of the night for the Flames.
Yeah, over the past 4 or 5 minutes, Marr's really started drifting into that pocket of space. Kraft is kind of pinched in a little bit and left her on the back shoulder. Usually I think she has the pace to make up for it, but that time she almost didn't make it to that ball.
Will starting keeper C.J. Graham be tested for the first time tonight? 6.5 to go in this half. Ball lobbed way up into that swirling breeze. Deflects off ahead, and Graham has no problem collecting. Bisons try to launch quickly the other way. Molly Grant back to the defense. Good ball there. Near side. That's Grace Oliver. Sends that one forward just behind the strides of Tori Wheeler.
Yeah, Wheeler wanted that ball towards the corner flag, and Oliver tried to play it right up the middle.
1-2 pass. Reeder. Heavy Reeder in toward the elbow. Whips across in. It's bouncing free. Haley Williams' shot is deflected. Played pinball for a second. Williams found herself with a bit of time, but not much of an angle. Good positioning by this Liberty defense, who has been steadfast in the final third despite allowing
that shot first time. It took a decent bounce, set up well for her, and that extra touch, it just lost the little window of space she had. I think if she takes it first time, she has a chance.
Step over for Byler, shot off target. She shows her skill, though, and does a push-up afterward, and frustration for the failure to put that one closer to the target. So right there you see the technique, you see the confidence, and then you see the resilience of the athlete who doesn't finish as she wants and gives herself a little bit of self-flagellation there at the end.
I doubt anybody on the Lipscomb sideline cares that she tried that shot. I think, especially after beating her defender like that, she's almost entitled to have a shot.
Well, when you've scored 5 goals in your last 4, then I think that opens up the opportunity as well. Kelly Byler, such raw skill for this team. The ASUN Player of the Week after scoring a hat trick on this pitch against Kennesaw State a couple weeks ago. Her hometown population was 342, so about the number of people in attendance tonight in Pennsylvania. And I'm sure she wowed every one of them at one time or another with that soccer skill.
And she probably saw the replay in her head before she even took that shot. That's one that you know if you can put it in the top corner, it's going to be a pretty special goal.
How big do your eyes get when you're in that situation?
If you know that you can hit it from out there, I think anytime you have a clear window and a little bit of space outside the box, I think you're gonna bet on yourself to take that shot anytime.
Ball caroms off of the foot of Shelby Kraft. 41 minutes in, counting down to halftime in this scoreless contest, which Lipscomb has dominated in the past 20 minutes. But Liberty has shown just enough moxie on the other end of the pitch that you certainly can't count out the Flames. Chloe Marr. Forward for Maddie Oliver. Oliver in toward the byline, and a tremendous tackle by Katya Hanger to force the corner kick.
Flames in the corner kick.
Second corner tonight for the women in blue. In the waning moments of the first half, looking for their moment of magic after Lipscomb had been the brighter side. This one boomed far post. Cued in toward the 6. The shot saved. It's C.J. Graham touching the ball for the first time tonight. Graham gets down near post and makes the stop.
Yeah, for Liberty, it doesn't always have to be pretty, but if you can just get a loose ball bouncing in the box with some numbers forward, it's not comfortable defending for Lipscomb, and I don't think Grant is confident to be able to come out and gather the ball with a win like this. So yeah, Liberty can take advantage of that if they can just get some more set pieces in the final third.
It was Lissy Gordon sending that one in. It was headed back the way it came, which is what they tell you to do on the other end. Heavy touch, out of play. 43rd minute now. Just a couple to go until the half.
Really, any corner kicks from this near side, it's just going to hang in the air, and you're going to have time to get under it, and really cause problems. I think we haven't seen a ton of creation from open play from Liberty, but if they can find a few more set pieces, I think that could be an avenue for them to kind of get back into this.
It was Cora Dunning on the shot, and it's the first time that Liberty has put a shot on target today. Just 2 shots today, and just that one inside the box. Whistle against Haley Williams. "70 seconds left in this first half. No score. Just 2 shots for Liberty and 5 for the Bisons.
1 minute remaining.
3 of them on target, and now we're at the minute mark. Set piece launched into the Nashville night. Cued high, coming up to it is Graham, no problem. Marr was trying to send it in for Maddie Oliver. And Graham will take her time here after a recent flourish by Liberty at the end of the first 45 that has been dominated mostly by Lipscomb. Byler goes down, and this could be a last-minute set-piece chance here for the Bisons. 30 seconds to go. And, yeah, Lipscomb's going to gather everybody but the keeper on the fringe of that area. 20 seconds to go. They've got to hurry. Shelby Kraft will be the one to provide the service. Everybody on attack for the Bisons. This one launched to the edge of the 6. Headed high and away yet again by Liberty, the story of their first half. One last chance perhaps for the Bisons. Goes awry as Logan McFadden can't hold on. It's cleared, and we are clear of the first 45 minutes of play. Lipscomb carries play, but the Flames, resilient and tough, keep Lipscomb out of the net thanks to some sprawling, spectacular saves by Melody J-Rowe. We'll come back in just a few minutes. We'll put our headsets down and enjoy the halftime atmosphere here at Lipscomb Soccer Complex. After 45, your score, Lipscomb 0, Liberty 0. teams are back out on the pitch and ready to kick off the second half of play between Liberty and Lipscomb at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. No score in the first 45 despite numerous opportunities that looked like the Bisons were going to find the breakthrough. Wes Bowling alongside Ben Wright. Ben Lipscomb clearly carried play in the first half, but credit Melody J-Rowe for keeping the ball out of the net on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I mean, just still going back and looking at that free kick save she had, I don't know how she got to that. She really had no right to make that save, and a really impressive save to keep them in the game. After, I think Lipscomb did a good job to weather some pressure and get back into things.
Back at it at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex. It is the Bisons moving right to left in their gold and purple kits and taking the initiative right away once again as this ball sent down the left side too far for the left wing. At this juncture, Molly Grant usually playing up top. It's the left wing McGee sending it through for her. One interesting fact that we learned at halftime, Melody J-Rowe, the keeper for Liberty, played for several years on the same club team, FC Dallas, as Lipscomb midfielder Shelby Kraft. Those two know each other well. It was actually Andy J-Rowe commenting and letting us know that on the YouTube feed. By the way, thank you all for watching, and if you have any comments, requests, information, we're not asking you to do our match research for us, although, Andy, that was a great fact, and we're glad you sent that in. We'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching? What do you think of this match? I'll tell you what I think of this match. Lipscomb has been the better team, and yet not sufficiently so to say they've been dominant. Yeah, you think Liberty definitely can still see the door open in this match, and anything can happen in the final 45.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it from them all year. They keep games tight. They don't really get blown out much. They've allowed single goals in most of their games, just 4 goals against this year, and I think even in a game when they don't necessarily have the ball, they're not going to make it easy for Lipscomb to break them down.
It's the best attack in the A-Sun in Lipscomb. 7 goals in their conference matches in just 2 contests. Against the best defense, as you mentioned, Ben, in the league. Only 1 goal allowed in their 3. And once again here, a set piece. Nope, sorry, that's a throw. I saw the ball along the ground. It was the reserve ball over on the far side of the pitch. My apologies.
Throw was kind of a set piece.
Yeah. Center backs converge here and shield.
Oh.
And a sliding error by the keeper, J-Rowe. One of very few errors that she makes. And the cross is chipped across the face for McGee. Lipscomb unable to immediately capitalize, and it will end up being a goal kick. J-Rowe so seldom makes errors like that it caught Lipscomb off guard just as it did Liberty.
Yeah, she came out, and I'm not sure if she needed to go down for that one. She slid for it. I think she could have just kind of collected it a little bit more calmly. And I think it threw everybody off. Her defenders were right on her, and I don't think they were expecting that.
You can forgive her for the occasional error. She has kept Liberty in this match almost single-handedly. 3 saves in the first half, 2 of them highlight stops for her Liberty Flames team. Pressure here. Bison's looking to force another error. Byler trying to chase it down. Cleared last minute by Palladino, and Liberty trying to capitalize and catch the Bisons napping on the other end. Surging across the stripe is Meredith Martin. Sends it forward. Too far, too heavily taken. But it looks like it took a deflection, and it will be a corner kick for the Flames.
This is already much more open in the first couple minutes here than it was to close out the first half. A bit end-to-end, honestly, to start things out.
As staunch as that Flames defense has been, a 0-0 draw never really seemed like it would be in the cards. It's what we have right now, and it is the Flames that'll be looking to open the scoring. Corner kick, far flag, whipped in just outside the 6, headed down, 2-on-1, open space for the Flames, but the header unable to find the foot of one of those 2 attackers. Liberty back to work. Palladino tries to win the corner. She'll instead win a throw next to the corner flag and then help up her foe. Quick toss in from King. Palladino. Back to Burkett. Skies that one. About 6 feet high of the net. Second time that Liberty's tried something from distance, and again in this wind, it is gusting 20 to 25 miles an hour here. It's really hard to blame these players for taking those speculative efforts and just seeing if they might confuse the keeper in the breeze.
But she had the time and space for it. If she just gets her head over the ball, leans over a little bit more, and she can get it down on target more, potentially test the goalkeeper. But I mean, again, I'm not going to blame anybody for taking a shot from outside the box tonight.
Spoken like a true former striker, right?
Can't score if you don't shoot.
That's right. Another corner kick for the Flames, 2 in quick succession for them. We will note the player who took that last shot, McKinley Burkett, the only player to earn a yellow card today. In fact, the only Liberty player to earn one all season. First of the year for them in their 8th match.
Flames in the corner kick.
Derubi lines up behind this one for the second time. This time she'll play it short. Something from the training ground, perhaps. Shelby Kraft loves foiling things that were drawn up on the training ground once they enter the field, and she does so here as well. Savvy, smooth, sensational. And now Lipscomb, might they find some space to unfurl their attack? Kraft launches that one forward. Giving chase is Grant. J-Ro has no problem with this one. But I like the long ball there to try to open up this Liberty defense, especially as they were out of their shape following the corner kick.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they haven't really had many opportunities to get in behind the defense, and if they can just unlock Grant and get her a couple yards of space here. But I mean, going back to that corner kick, I'm not sure why you would take it short there with the wind at your back and really just give up your advantage of having all those numbers in the box. I would be surprised if we see that attempted again.
Well, especially if you look and see Shelby Kraft, the one standing between you and your teammate there on that short corner kick. She is, and we'll use the pun again, an extremely crafty defender, as well as being aggressive in attack. She comes forward and interrupts that pass, but then vacates the space. Liberty tries to invade down the channel that she left behind. Whistle behind the play there. Going down hard was Eccles, and the Bisons win the whistle.
Looks like the referee's giving her a little bit of talking, just letting her know that she has one more chance before she goes into the book.
Firm conversation with Casey Jamieson, who initiated that contact from behind. In the 53rd minute of action at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex, and we are scoreless. The winner of this match, if there is one, will take the driver's seat, sole possession of the driver's seat in the ASUN division, 5-team division: Lipscomb, Liberty, North Alabama, Kennesaw State. And Bellarmine, the newcomer coming up from Division II. Bellarmine from your hometown of Louisville, Kentucky.
That's where my little brother goes.
School of, what, just a few thousand, small enrollment?
Yeah.
Right? On the
Very
way
small.
up, though, they've really acquitted themselves nicely in conference play in soccer, but also throughout their athletics program. Good basketball team this year, too.
Yeah, their recent arrivals in Division I. I've been impressed so far, though.
Was standing in this spot on the mic when the Bellarmine men won their first ever D1 contest against the Lipscomb Bisons. An upset, but a scrappy, talented Bellarmine team nonetheless. This surely will draw the whistle from the referee. It does not.
Or not.
Patty goes down. Derubi tries to capitalize, sends one in, square ball, and the one-touch shot off target. Nonetheless, good build-up. Spade just couldn't place it on frame.
That's a really good run, though, from Spade. She looked like she was going to go to the far post, and then at the last second cut in front of the defender. And really, you just need a step to be able to get in front of the defender and put a shot on goal.
Liberty won the ball physically. I think perhaps the Bison defense a bit surprised they didn't earn the whistle, but that's why you play until you hear that whistle. Derubi with a dangerous cross and a nice touch, just a little high. And now here comes Kelly Byler. She has a nice touch, sends this one to Molly Grant. Grant into the middle of the pitch, back to Byler. Byler feigns a shot. Instead passes to Schuick. Schuick takes the shot, might have deflected off a Liberty foot. Either way, it goes into the breadbasket of Melody J-Rowe. Yet again, her 4th save of the evening.
And again, we're seeing from Lipscomb their best moments come when they get the midfield up and right around the box.
And then she mishits the ensuing kick. It bounces once, goes into the seats, and a gentleman from Hermitage, Tennessee picks it up and tosses it back onto the pitch. Emily Patty spins one into the middle of the field, the direction of the heart of her attack. That was McGee she was looking for. And now Lipscomb will reset. They'll unfurl over to the far side of the pitch, that right side where they do so much good work. courtesy of Shelby Kraft. It's McGee who goes down. And a late whistle there, as it looked like the referee might have been considering playing advantage and could have probably justifiably done so, but then he decides to halt the play. And honestly, this is probably the better scenario for the Bisons with this wind, set piece time from 40 yards out, and a chance to send one into the mixer.
We saw Liberty with a couple in the first half that caused some problems with loose balls in the box. Let's see what Lipscomb can do here.
Shelby Kraft, right to the keeper, J-Ro, who punches it free. Can Lipscomb send this one back in? More battling for the ball. And Liberty ends up winning the throw after the referee once again lets the physical play happen. Doesn't mind letting these teams scrap it out just a little bit. McGee intercepts the throw to Eccles. They'll unfurl over to the far side. Schuick, nifty step over into the middle of the pitch. Long shot from Eccles, deflects. Grant keeps it in, tries to play it to herself. Clearance from Ernest. McGee. Ball won by Patty after the 50-50 from McGee. Lipscomb pinning Liberty down at its own end now.
Yeah, after it was more open here to start the first couple minutes of the half, it definitely feels like this is kind of where we picked up. Where we picked up in the first half, with Lipscomb really dominating the ball and keeping Liberty pushed back.
You see Grant love to come back and play that role of target with her back to the defense, and Lipscomb get the runners in next to her. And if they can get that timing right and get in, they'll be able to test J-Ro. But it's going to be hard to break down this Flames team when they're sitting back. Again, they've allowed 4 goals all season long in their 7 contests, the best goals against average in the conference.
But now we're starting to see the midfield push up too, which I think it's really helping Grant out, because when she gets the ball, she's not 30 yards away from the next closest player. She has options for a really simple layoff.
Oh, ball sent through for Byler. Looks like she tripped over the referee there.
I was looking for the foul, but I guess the referee can't commit a foul.
He can commit one, he just can't whistle himself for one. Clearly unintentional, and it looked like it was Byler almost initiating that contact, coming in and clipping him as she went down. Liberty seeks to capitalize. DeRuby toward the far flag. Eccles in defense is going to concede a corner kick. It's the 3rd of this half for Liberty, so even though it's the Bisons who have had the initiative once again in the second half, it's Liberty with its 3rd corner of the stanza and a chance to score one against the run of play. It's DeRuby stepping to it yet again. The 5'3" freshman from Oneida, New York, raises one hand, steps in, and whips a curling ball that's punched away by Graham. Graham making her first career conference start. 2nd career start, has been sure-handed, and really looks like a regular starter out there, Ben.
I mean, we heard it from Coach O'Brien before the game. I think he feels like he has 2 starting goalkeepers.
Ball to the byline and a sliding tackle by Hanger to disrupt. Sorry to cut you off.
That's on replay, that's a tough one. I mean, you don't want to, you got to put your hands down somewhere, but I mean, it looked like that might have hit a trailing arm.
And the question, of course, is that in a natural position for the defender, and was there time to adjust? Another cross stabbed to the 6, and that's where Graham stands, poised to raise her arms and snag it.
That's a tough call for a referee to make from that far away. And it would be a really harsh call too, but
this is increasingly looking like the kind of match that will be decided by one moment. And the referee, I'm sure, reticent to be the one who causes that moment unless it's a very clear infraction. Schuick sends this one down the flank, middle left channel, past everybody. Had Grant and McGee in mind with that one.
Well, and looking at this game, like you said, I think it's a single goal could decide this. And it really makes these moments that Lipscomb have where they're creating sustained moments of pressure, it makes those really important, because at some point, pressure and chances don't do anything for you. You have to actually create something and finish an opportunity. And then counter to that, Liberty, they're gonna really look to hit them on the counter and kind of get a goal against the run of play. And those opportunities that they have, they're not going to be frequent, but they have to take advantage of those as well. You can't afford any missed opportunities tonight.
The stage would seem set for the best attack in the league to be pinning back and trying to break down the best defense in the league. But it's not that simple. This Liberty team's a tricky one, because even though they've not scored multiple goals in a match in 12 contests, they are second in the league in shots taken. They're taking the opportunities, they're just not capitalizing, and so you can't just pin Liberty back and expect they don't have the ability to counter and break you down themselves. The glory and the agony of soccer, that one moment can determine the fate of a season. And that moment could happen tonight. Midway through the conference slate, two teams at the top of the division. Giveaway here. It's Tori Wheeler. Lays it off, right side for Schuick. Schuick trying to find space. The cross gathered by, guess who? Melody J-Rowe. And she had pressure. Rogers was coming in back post.
Yeah, I think Schuick got pushed a little bit farther wide than she would have liked, but still managed to put in a decent ball. Was really, really well held by the goalkeeper under some pressure from the striker.
McGee circumvents a couple of Liberty defenders and then gives it away. Take away Meredith King. King, a bright, standout freshman for this Liberty team, someone whose name we've not called as much in the second half. She's been forced to join her teammates sucking back and defending more than they probably like to do so. Looked like maybe a deflection off the center back, but no, says the referee. 1/3 of the way into the final 45. Scoreless in Music City. Total shot count now 7-5 in favor of Lipscomb. 5 of them on target, all saved by Melody J-Rowe. 2 saves for CJ Graham, the freshman getting her first conference start. 14 combined fouls in this one, 8 of them on Lipscomb. 5 corner kicks for the Flames, 3 for the Bisons. And interestingly, neither team, as there's a foul going Lipscomb's way, neither team has been whistled offside in this one. The referee raised the flag numerous times against Lipscomb, against Alabama, as they were trying balls over the top against the Crimson Tide. A little more build-up in this one, but here's an opportunity to send one over the top. Set piece from 13 yards in from the center stripe. Shelby Kraft, with her eyes on the 18, raises both arms. Now one arm steps forward. Sends it far side. Headed high. And McFadden's going to let that one go out for a corner kick for the Bisons. Their 4th of the night, and a chance to create a moment nearly midway through the second half to finally break through. Tori Wheeler will take it. Left-footed, in-swinging ball floats near post. Knotted high, knotted away. McGee tries to hit that one back over her head. Eccles looks to come onto it. Patty, good ball in there. And J-Rowe well positioned once again. Emily Patty's service is so good. 2 assists this year. We saw her with some really precise entry balls against Alabama, and there just one half volley into the box and just a little heavy, but had the right idea.
And that one's a lot harder to hit than it looks. She made it look pretty simple, but it's a difficult ball to control, and she did well to get over that, and it really just a half yard away from getting on the end of it.
Making her 31st career college appearance, her coach Kevin O'Brien says she has good vision and is an accurate passer, and we have seen those qualities on display of late. Byler loses out, commits the foul. And now Liberty might just set up for a set piece of its own here from just inside midfield. Some conversation about that. That's going to be the plan. No, it's not. Broadcaster's curse, of course. The Flames trying to tighten things, instead give it away. Likely a frustrating moment for Coach Lang Wiedemeyer in his 4th season with this program, really building something special. Oh, what a ball forward. It's Rogers coming onto it. Rogers inside the 18. Rogers left-footed shot, dragged just wide. A tremendous ball, 50 yards to the foot of Cammie Rogers, and her effort just skirted wide of the far post. She had Wheeler running on, and she was just short of it as well. But I'll tell you what, the story there was that pass.
Oh, that was a fantastic pass. The vision to just be able to pick that out and put it through the channel to her. She did a great job getting on the end of it and showed off her pace. Maybe could have squared it to Wheeler there in the center, but can't fault her for taking the shot. Wheeler has been an interesting change of pace for Lipscomb. I think she's looking to play on the back shoulder a little bit more, whereas Grant is more of a target forward who likes to play with her back to goal. Wheeler is looking to get in behind and get behind the defender and really stretch the field out, and it's changed things up a little bit for Lipscomb here.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, right? That's what Lipscomb's been lacking. They have great target players, but she has the ability to mix things up. There you see it her volleying it to herself, and then back to Byler. Byler attacked from behind, didn't see the second defender coming, and now Liberty on the break. 3-on-3 for the Flames. Ball played left side for King, disrupted by Patty. Emily Patty stabs it out of play, and Lipscomb will have a chance to recover. Wide open here at the Lipscomb Soccer Complex between two teams with their eye on the top of the table. Right now they are tied at the top of the standings. And if all goes well for one of these teams, there will be a sole leader in the division when tonight is done. But once again, for a second straight game, it is Lipscomb carrying a scoreless contest late into the match. They took Alabama to overtime before losing 3 minutes in. And now they've got Liberty on the ropes. Oh, good step over play there by Maddie Oliver, then sends it into the middle of the box, and the shot deflects. McKinley Burkett stepped into it, and you could hear it from here, hitting off the Lipscomb defender. Effort from distance there, a sliding tackle and disruption by the Bisons, and they can breathe for just a minute, but it is Liberty now controlling play for a couple minutes after Lipscomb has had some very dangerous chances.
And that was a really intelligent play from Mar, too. The ball wasn't quite set up for her to take the shot, but just to be able to get onto that and lay it off for her teammate. Those opportunities aren't going to come around a lot for Lipscomb, and they're going to have to, for Liberty, and they're going to have to make the most of them when they get them.
The flow of this match is unpredictable as the breeze that is pounding our microphones tonight. It has been gusty above the pitch and uncertain on it. Both teams with their own flurries throughout the match, although it is Lipscomb that has had the better chances. This game still anybody's for the taking, exactly what you would expect from two teams at the top of the league. Byler deflects. Takeaway by Avery Belk. Belk back to Burkett. They'll span it all the way to the far side of the pitch. The ball sent in directionlessly, corralled by Graham. We are exactly midway through the second half, and we are still scoreless. Ben, what's the key to Lipscomb finding the breakthrough?
I think for them, they have to keep pushing numbers forward and really get their midfielders up underneath the striker. And I think you need to see their fullbacks get a little bit higher up the pitch. But at the same time, I mean, we've seen it already twice in the second half. Liberty's been able to take advantage of their fullbacks being high and getting behind and cause issues with some low crosses, especially from this near side. So it's a tricky balance of wanting to get your fullbacks involved in the attack while not sacrificing too much space in behind them.
Grace Oliver comes into the contest for the Bisons, so does Evie Reeder. Two attacking-minded players. Reeder has scored 2 goals in just 137 minutes of action, added an assist to that tally. An efficient reserve who absolutely is starting caliber. McFadden. The left-footed drive forward is disrupted by McKinley Burkett. Forward for Belk. Thinks about making headway forward, decides better. Back to her center back, and they'll try to build from the back. Lawson sends it back to her fullback. It's Lawson again. Chops it forward down that left channel. Once again, they're trying to test Shelby Craft. And once again, that's a test that Shelby Craft is going to pass. One of the most technically skilled players on this Lipscomb team, gets the ball out of danger, and the Bisons will have a throw just in front of the Liberty bench.
Kraft has been rock solid on both sides of the ball tonight.
Really have to respect her game. The sophomore Penn State transfer. Only player to go the distance for this team in every match.
It's interesting too. Now you have Grant back in the game, but she's playing wide right with Wheeler centrally. Like I said earlier, I think Wheeler has kind of changed up the shape a bit for Lipscomb, and she's opening up a lot of space for the midfielders that we haven't really seen before. She's kind of pushing their center backs back and at least making them think about the threat of the ball in behind, and that hasn't really been an option for Lipscomb up until now.
And there was Wheeler again creating trouble and forcing the clearance from the Flames. Patty forward to the onrushing Kraft. Kraft plays it to herself. Shelby Kraft still in possession. Shelby Kraft still with the ball. She's foiled 3 defenders. Now she looks up with her eyes toward goal. Forward for Oliver. Back to Kraft and cleared. Single-handed creation there from Shelby Kraft, trying to turn this deadlocked match Lipscomb's way, and it was a last-gasp clearance by Liberty that kept her from doing so.
That was the right idea, too, just the quick give and go right on the edge of the box. It almost came off for them. The final pass and touch wasn't quite there, but it was close again.
Physical challenge on the pass. Liberty gets the whistle. 19 minutes away from potential overtime. College rules, as you all may know, but we'll refresh you, 2 10-minute periods of golden goal overtime soccer before the match would be declared a draw. Golden goal, of course, the fancy soccer term for sudden death. Both teams used to creating magic in the waning moments of matches. Cross here. Cued away, Patty. Kraft.
That was really excellent hold-up play there from Maddie Oliver. She had absolutely no help with her. And
Tora Wheeler forward, 3-on-3 for the Bisons. Wheeler straight down the heart of the pitch with options. Wheeler, right foot, left foot, step over, is foiled. You wonder if perhaps she should have combined with a teammate there. Lipscomb still in possession. Long distance shot from Evie Reeder, redirected before it can enter the 18. Lipscomb, though, applying the pressure. Kraft, dispossessed, out, Lipscomb throw. Let's go back to that 3-on-3 break, though. It looked to me like Wheeler perhaps got a bit overwhelmed by the options in front of her and decided to go it alone when she had a couple players running alongside.
yeah, and it looked like Liberty's defense was shifting towards Oliver here on the near side, and she had Grant in plenty of space, and it just takes a simple pass to unlock her. She probably should have. I mean, she definitely should have got rid of the ball earlier.
Chances are swirling like the wind above the Lipscomb soccer complex. Mentioned that these teams are used to late magic. Liberty won in the 84th minute against North Alabama, a 1-0 win in Lynchburg on Sunday. Charging down the pitch here is Reeder. Lays it off. Chipped back her way, cleared in the apron. That's Casey Jamieson. Long distance effort by Byler. Again, the player who has the green light to take those whenever she wants, but that one is not faithful.
But we're starting to see more space open for Lipscomb right outside Liberty's box. I mean, I think Wheeler's kind of forcing the center backs back a little bit and really allowing the midfield to push up. I mean, Reeder turned and she had 30 yards of space before the next line of defenders.
And if I'm a box-to-box midfielder like Byler, I'm looking at that as extreme license to go and create.
Especially when you have someone like Eccles behind you locking things up in midfield. I mean, she's been pretty tied up so far with the Ruby, but I think knowing that she's back there and can clean up any messes, it gives you a little bit more freedom to push forward into the attack.
And you see a Lipscomb team that is extremely confident in midfield now, applying the pressure every time Liberty has it in its own defensive midfield or the center backs are trying to press forward. Lipscomb has taken the initiative. Even when they don't have the ball, they're dictating the pace of this match with that high press.
I mean, and it's not time for desperation yet, but there's the aspect of you're at home. It's a game that you need to win, and you have 15 minutes left. So, I mean, they're not desperate or panicked yet, but I think there's a more of a sense of urgency now than we've seen up until this point.
It's a group that has found its way into this contest, but it's a Liberty squad that is more than capable of springing a counter the other way and shocking everyone. And I say shocking, I don't mean a victory would be shocking for this Liberty team. They're tied for the top of the standings, but just against the run of play, it would certainly would suggest expected goals and chances have gone Lipscomb's way. Pressure for the Bisons here. A giveaway in this spot for Liberty would be dangerous. They're going to take some time, let things settle. And now launch one forward. Down the flank, dangerous ball for Casey Jamison, who comes onto it, marked by Patty. And Patty seizes on the mistouch there. Forward for Oliver. Launched ahead off target.
Wheeler looked like she was going to peel wide and make the run to the corner flag, and I think that's what Wheeler wanted.
Pressure. Works out for Lipscomb, at least momentarily. McGee's press forces the keeper to play one earlier than she wanted, but the header gives Liberty a throw. 2/3 of the way through the second half of action as we enter crunch time, still scoreless. Oliver tosses it in quickly for Wheeler, tries a through ball. It's Oliver coming on to it, slides to keep possession, still haunted and then cleared. Fans loving the effort. It was Grace Oliver, the sophomore from Maryville, Tennessee, who was a step away from taking a shot that could have transformed this match. It was only, once again, outstanding defending along the back line that kept her from doing it. Wheeler back to the defense forward for Oliver, goes down. The referee immediately waves it off. Not much in that one.
No, not a lot in there. It looked like she got all ball.
Splendid play by the center backs, fullbacks of this Liberty team who've been sucked back into their own third. Rebecca Ernest at right back has been effective tonight. Cora Dunning, Sophia Palladino. Names we honestly haven't called a whole lot tonight because they've done their jobs.
Well, I mean, and we're here with 13 and change left in the game, and Liberty's still in this. I mean, they haven't had many chances, but they're showing you what a solid defensive foundation can do. It can keep you in games through 90 minutes, even when your attack maybe can't generate the type of chances that you'd like. But I mean, they have as good a shot as anyone to go out here and win this.
The Flames.
What a tackle.
Looking to ignite. The tackle from behind. It was Reeder. Lipscomb foiled in its attempt to take advantage. Ball lobbed into the windy night. Only 2 Liberty players on their attacking half of the pitch. Numbers not there. And so they'll take it back to central defense and try to build from the back, and they've done that. Down the right flank, it's Jamison at the elbow. Tries to whip in across, deflects away. Jamison back onto it, sends that one well off target. Almost hits the flag behind the goal. And those are the kinds of efforts that Liberty's been forced to take. That's the 3rd or 4th shot that they've tried from that distance that has really had very little chance of testing the keeper, C.J. Graham.
And I've been really impressed with Maddie Oliver. She's leaving the field now, but she's had limited moments on the ball, and when she has had the ball, she's been completely isolated. And she's really done a good job standing up to McFadden here and holding onto the ball long enough to let her teammates get up and get involved. She's done a good job linking play, even though she's been completely on her own.
Oliver coming into the night, 5 shots in her last 4 matches for this team. And the Flames are going to let this game breathe for just a minute. As we approach the 80-minute mark, they'll catch their breath before tossing this one in parallel to their attacking 18. A jersey tug behind the play will result in Lipscomb possession. 10 shots for the Bisons, 7 for Liberty, just 2 of those on target for the Flames, 5 for Lipscomb.
If you're Liberty here, you have to be really happy with how things have played out so far. You've held up the pressure really well. I mean, Lipscomb have had moments, but they've limited their clear-cut chances, and they're still in this with 10 minutes left. I think if you'd have told them that they would be level with 10 minutes to go and creating half chances, I think they take it.
Yeah, I think Lang Wiedemeyer has built a poised program, a team that has never all year been out of a game. They've lost twice, both by 1-0 margins, allowed 4 goals all season, and they've notched more clean sheets than anybody in the league. So when you have a defense like that, you're always going to be in it, always going to have a chance. And it's all down to that mental toughness in the waning moments. They had it against North Alabama, a 1-0 win on an 84th minute goal last time out by Meredith King. Do they have it here, or does Lipscomb have the breakthrough that they've been seeking for nearly 80 minutes now? They've got some space here. Kraft sends it forward into the box. Was looking for Grant, past everyone for a goal kick. Here in the last few minutes, Ben, the chances have been waning just a bit for the Bisons, though, and you wonder if they're starting to get a little frustrated and certainly fatigued in the face of this steadfast Liberty defense.
Yeah, and I think that plays into Liberty's hands. I think they've set out to frustrate Lipscomb tonight, and I think they've done a good job of that. If you're Lipscomb, I think you just got to go back to what was working for you earlier and really trying to work the ball up, push your lines forward, get combination play around the box, and try to get some more end product out of it, because they've had a lot of moments that have looked promising, and just the final shot or the final pass hasn't been there tonight.
And 2 of those standout attackers are on the pitch, and they'll be there for the duration most likely. Cammie Rogers is back, so is Emanuela Schuick. She leads Lipscomb in shooting with 4 tonight, including what would have been a golazzo from deep that was somehow saved by Meredith King. Sorry, by Melody J-Rowe. Byler with the dispossession. Patty trying to cross up the defender, can't do so. Back to McFadden. Clicked forward. Good lobbing service there. Was aiming for Cammie Rogers. Liberty with space to turn. Casey Jamieson exploring her options ahead. Finds King. Closely marked by Kraft. Sliding effort there and a takeaway. It's Byler sending it forward for Wheeler. Wheeler. Through ball. Aiming for Rogers. Strong positioning, goal kick. Rebecca Ernest was there. 8 minutes to go.
We're kind of starting to see here at the end, Lipscomb isn't quite pushing their midfield forward as much. I mean, maybe they don't want to just give up a late goal and lose this one at home, but if I'm O'Brien on the sidelines, I'm yelling at your midfielders to get forward and really go after this one.
Appreciate the legions that are tuning in and watching tonight, whatever colors they may be wearing. And we have some who are wearing Nashville Soccer Club gold watching us today as well. Good to hear from good buddy John Freeman, for whom I'm filling in tonight on the mic. Nashville SC radio play-by-play announcer, and Nashville SC color commentator Jamie Watson tuning in and has a couple of false but kind words to say about the broadcast. Thanks to all who are watching here on the stream. And again, there's still time in the waning moments if you'd like to comment and tell us what you think of this match. What's it going to take for somebody to find the winner? We're in the 83rd minute. Nobody's found it yet. Tori Wheeler cut off. The ball chopped away and clear, at least into the back of Lipscomb's midfield. That's Kelly Byler. Has it taken away. Liberty now with a 3-on-3 the other direction. It's Grace Spade. Sends it forward for Jamieson down the near channel. Jamieson with defenders gathering. It's Byler, steady in defense, truly box to box, and Patty. And it is out for a delayed decision by the referee, and it's a corner kick. It is a corner for Liberty, their 4th of the half. And the wind is picking up. It is whipping all over this pitch. It would be prime opportunity for Liberty to send this one into the 6, into the mixer, and just see what they can create in the waning minutes of this match. A scoreless contest that will decide who takes the driver's seat in the division. That's what they're going to do. And yet, once again, C.J. Graham has no problem handling it.
That was a good-looking ball into the box, and if you're Liberty, you just want to get a forward on the goalkeeper so that she can't come out and catch that uncontested. You need to have someone on her to put a body on her and make her job a little bit more difficult.
CJ Graham has been faithful in goal. She's not had to make any extreme highlight saves, got down and dirty once to make a stop, and yet the freshman starting her first ever conference contest and second career match has done everything asked of her by this team, including the things that aren't going to get you on the score sheet or in the highlight reels. Good positioning as a keeper, directing her defense. When Liberty has been on the front foot, she's done a good job being the backbone of that back line. And now she's 5 minutes away from a clean sheet through 90 minutes and taking this thing to overtime, unless Lipscomb has something to say about that in the attack. Molly Grant turns, miscommunicates. Schuick says, no problem, I'll pick up the mess. She cleans it up, circles the defender, tries to edge her off the ball and chip one in. That's Tori Wheeler. Wheeler tries to click it to herself, but she's dispossessed by Dunning. The preseason ASUN Defensive Player of the Year once again with a white knuckle clearance. We're in the 86th. Grant sends one down the channel. Low cross, dealt with awkwardly. Corner kick, Bisons.
It's going to be a good one here with a wind to your back. McFadden's coming up. You just got to throw numbers in the box, put in a good ball, and hope you can get ahead on it.
It is Tori Wheeler, the catalyst for Lipscomb this half, stepping up to it. She'll put in a left-footed ball here as the clock hits 4 minutes ticking down. Lipscomb has 6 players inside the 18 as Wheeler spins one near post, headed back to Rogers. She has some room to send one back in. That's what she's going to do. Curls it, back post, shot, crossbar, follow-up, Schuick. Somehow there's a force field on the net. Denied, still scoreless.
What a block off the, I mean, the first shot deflected off to the crossbar. It's easy to lose concentration, but as a defender, she stayed focused. She kept track of the ball and was somehow able to get on the line and keep that out. That's another one that you're not sure as a Lipscomb fan exactly how that one made it, how that one stayed out.
Emanuela Schuick was taking out her pin to write her name in the score sheet. The block off the line, though, keeps this one deadlocked. I thought for sure that was the winner for the Bisons, and I think every Bison thought so as well. Tremendous clearance at the last minute after the crossbar is unkind to the first attempt.
That one might beat out J-Ro for the save of the match.
I'll tell you what, and that's a tall order because J-Ro had a skying, sprawling save, and yet you might be right. Meredith King trying to make Lipscomb pay on the other end. Soccer karma when you have one cleared off the line. Sometimes the other team can come break the other way on you. McFadden in defense here as Rachel DeRuby goes to work on her, and Graham under pressure delivers.
Yeah, that's another good catch from Graham. That's going backwards like that when you're not quite sure where the attackers are. That's never easy, and she handled it well and made it look a lot easier than it was.
And as a recovering striker yourself, I'm sure you would be licking your chops at that opportunity if Graham were to make a mistake. Wes Bowling and Ben Wright with you in the climactic moments of a conference showdown that is 2 minutes away from going to extra time, unless somebody can deliver a winner in that time span. Have really enjoyed being with you tonight. Some 0-0 matches are stale. This one could never be accused of that. It's been two teams with organized, outstanding defenses and strong attacks, and in some cases, a little bit of luck and a whole lot of talent in net.
Yeah, this one's been about as entertaining as a 0-0 draw can get. Still a minute to go here, and you're seeing more space open up than we've seen for most of the match.
Rogers, smooth move to spin around the defender, plays it off the chest of the defender. It'll be a throw for her. And we are at the 89-minute mark. The clock stops at 0, no stoppage time in college soccer, so we are exactly 60 seconds away from overtime unless Something can happen here. McFadden ropes one in. Cleared and stabbed away by the boot of McKinley Burkett. Back as far as Katya Hanger. Back in for a Wheeler. Now it's Grant on the far side. Shelby Kraft, 35 seconds now. Kraft across the face of the defense to Rogers. Rogers at the elbow. Cammie Rogers tries the shot off the legs of the defender. Ball bounces back. Chance Wheeler to Rogers. Rogers commits a foul. That was going to have to be the moment for somebody to get a winner before overtime, and it looked for a moment like Rogers was going to be through. Wheeler played a good ball to her, but once again, the positioning of the Central defense of Liberty keeping this thing scoreless. And the clock is going to run out on 90 minutes. We're going to go to Golden Goal, overtime college soccer. How fitting that the two best teams in this division of the A-Sun would not be able to settle it after 90 minutes. We'll put the headsets down and be back in just a couple minutes. Your score after 90, scoreless between Lipscomb and Liberty. The breeze has really cooled off the temperatures above the pitch at Lipscomb Soccer Complex, but the heat only rising on it, as Lipscomb and Liberty are headed to extra time, the second consecutive overtime contest for this Bison's team. It has been Lipscomb with the bulk of the chances today, including a clearance off the line in the final minutes, and yet Liberty doing what it has done all season long, holding strong in defense. Only 4 goals allowed all year, and now it's going to take something brilliant to beat them and put Lipscomb on top of the Atlantic Sun divisional standings. These two teams tied right now at top of the table, Lipscomb with the game in hand, and we are getting ready to settle this via golden goal overtime. 2 10-minute periods, unless somebody scores, at which point this match is over. At the end of those 2 periods, if we are still deadlocked, we'll declare this one a draw, and these teams will stay tied at the top of the table. Teams will go the same directions they were in the second half. Liberty left to right in their navy blue will get things kicked off. Ben, what's it going to take for somebody to find a winner?
Well, I mean, I think towards the end of that second half, we saw things start to open up, and Liberty kind of came out of the gates a little bit more and really went for it. And I think here in overtime, golden goal, I mean, you don't gain a whole lot from sitting back. I expect Liberty to go for it more than we've seen from them so far. I think for Lipscomb, you kind of have to go back to what had been working for you earlier, and really trying to get up high, push your lines forward, connect your midfield and forward lines. I think they kind of came away from that a little bit towards the back end of that first half, and I think if they're gonna get a goal and win this one, it's gonna come from midfield.
Wes Bowling filling in for John Freeman, joined by Ben Wright. It's been a pleasure to bring you this match, and especially exhilarating to know that every touch will matter for the duration of this contest. 2 teams that have their eyes on a conference championship at the end of the season, both midway through the conference slate. Every bit the contenders that they hoped they would be. And whoever can earn the 3 points, if somebody does in this contest, will be in pole position heading into the second half of that conference slate. Next up for Lipscomb will be a match against Bellarmine, and then these 2 teams will play again. Flames trying to break out. Shelby Kraft, wise to the effort. Back to the keeper, C.J. Graham. Credit to her. First ever A-Sun start. The freshman, all she did was deliver 90 minutes of scoreless soccer. When she has been tested, she's been very stable and secure. And Coach Kevin O'Brien said, you know, because of the eligibility allowance this year with the pandemic, she'll have 4 more years on this field for us. We think that she can be the future for us at that position. Melissa Gray, the usual starter, is a grad student. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to put her out there and let her prove herself. It was not an injury-inspired decision. Melissa Gray's healthy. It was just wanting to see what they had in Graham. Her second career start, and she's only allowed 1 goal now in more than 180 minutes of soccer. Cammie Rogers trying to mix things up and get in, and she has earned a corner kick. Looks like maybe that ball hit off Rogers. Nonetheless, she's the beneficiary of a kind call from the referee, and Lipscomb's going to have a corner kick and a chance to end it.
Yeah, do we have I think the linesman might be saying it's a goal kick.
It looks like there's a conversation, and that's exactly what's happened. And, you know, honestly, the most important thing is that they get it right. I think he did in that instance. And credit him for having the security to talk to the assistant referee, come to a conclusion, and reverse the call.
And I think it was a good tackle too. I mean, she went in and cleared it off the attacker. Glad they got the call right eventually.
3 minutes into the first of 2 10-minute extra sessions that will be ended immediately if somebody scores. This ball sent over the top looking for Meredith King. Patty able to hold 2 Liberty attackers at bay long enough to get the clearance. And Patty steps into that one, precise, straight ahead. Grant goes down, draws a whistle. All night we've seen both teams try to capitalize on this windy evening and send balls in from 40, 50 yards out on set pieces. I think that's an especially sound tactic at this point in a match when all you need is 1 tally. That's what Lipscomb's going to do. 6, now 7 players skirting the edge of the 18. A Manuela Schueck not far away herself as Shelby Kraft raises both arms and is going to try to send this one deep into the heart of the Liberty defense. It's cued high. That's Molly Grant. Comes straight back down, headed away the direction of Rogers, who tries his shot. Clangs off the shins of the well-positioned Rebecca Ernest. Back to Patty. Rogers battling for it. Sure-footed Maddie Oliver is able to get it out of dodge. Grace Spade to Burkett. Now they'll fan it wide to the far side of the pitch and open up space down that channel. Ball sent over the top by Martin. Kraft gives chase. Calmly pokes that one back the direction of her teammate. And McGee is pushed down. Draws the foul. And we're already almost halfway through the first overtime stanza.
You can really see it start to get, this game is getting a lot more stretched out. There's a lot of space between the defensive and forward lines. Defenders aren't pushing up into the attack as much, and there is a ton of space for the taking in midfield.
Everybody in to try to score in the crucial moments of a game that could end up deciding a division championship. Lots of soccer to be played after this one, but this one huge 6-point match between two teams contending for ASUN supremacy. Best attack in the league in Lipscomb going up against the best defense in the league, and it has been defense that has won the day. Can Liberty win the day as well? Ball heaved in from Ernest. Looked like Oliver was trying to perhaps win a corner by playing it off the defense. Does at least win a throw, and Ernest is going to heave this one in as well. The right back steps up and tosses it to Dunning. Dunning in just outside the 18. Header toward the backside. And the offside flag is up. First time tonight, actually. The assistant referee had to raise his flag. First offside call.
That's impressive.
96 minutes in.
You don't see that too often.
No, you don't. And especially between two teams that have played some long balls and tried to go over the top a little bit. You'd think occasionally you'd catch somebody off, and teams are playing a high line today too. A weird aberration. Whoa,
that was really well played there.
That was very, very smooth from the Liberty defender. Lipscomb playing it in, looking to create a mistake. It was headed the direction of Rogers, didn't get there. Meredith King. Intercepted Schueck. Eccles. Back to Katia Hanger. Ahead for Shelby Kraft. Has it taken off her foot. That's not something that happens to Shelby Kraft very often. Oliver plays it back. There's King. King going to work on Patty. Given away. Rogers down the channel, keeps it in. Rogers, eyes toward the box now. Her cross deflects. Corner kick Lipscomb with 3 minutes to go in the first of 2 potential extra time sessions.
Really good work there from Rogers just to keep that ball in. That's as close as you can get to going out of bounds without actually going out of bounds.
Could Lipscomb's 6th corner kick of the night result in its first goal, which would give the Bisons the winner? Rogers will be the one to take it with her right foot. Races the right arm. Steps in, near post, through the legs of McFadden. Back out to Rogers. She'll send it in again. A lob this time to the heart of the 6, cued high and away. Every time there's been a 50-50 ball inside the box, Liberty has won it, and that ball's going to go out for a goal kick. It really is such a consistent performance by Liberty when they've been pinned back inside their own 6 on these corner kicks.
I mean, they've been excellent defensively tonight. I mean, Lipscomb have had a couple chances, obviously, that free kick and then the save off the line, but apart from that, they haven't really created a ton, and really not anything from open play. Liberty have been really excellent defensively, and they've really limited Lipscomb to half chances in the box.
Kevin O'Brien digs into the riches on his bench and brings in Tori Wheeler, the Georgia transfer attacker who really has mixed things up for this team in the second half. And there's a collision here behind the play. Hard contact, and a yellow card is going to be delivered the way of the Lipscomb Bisons and Cammie McGee. First booking of the night for Lipscomb, second overall, the 9th minute Referee puts McKinley Burkett into the book.
Looks like we might have a little bit of a system shift here from Lipscomb.
What are you
Looks
seeing?
like Wheeler looks like she's going to come in and play underneath Grant. So maybe a little bit of a departure from the straight 4-3-3 that we saw earlier.
With the two camis on the wings, McGee and Rogers right and left respectively. See if that looks a bit like a 4-2-3-1 or more of a second striker setup with Wheeler. Right now, though, it's Liberty causing problems on the other side of the pitch. Cross, deflects, corner kick for the Flames. Won by Chloe Marr.
Again, Maddie Oliver has been excellent for Liberty tonight. She's been really good in tight spaces, and she's maintained the ball basically every time she's touched it, which is really hard to do when you're that isolated.
1 minute to go in the first period of extra time. The Flames will step to the corner spot. Grace Spade will do the honors. As the wind picks up, Spade drives one to the edge of the box. Hit high. Graham's got to be good here. Punches it away. King plays it wide. She was under pressure and was never going to have the angle. But credit CJ Graham with the poise to punch that ball away. She had two attackers right in her face.
Yeah, I think that might be the first time she hasn't come out and just cleanly taken care of it. And good for her for knowing the situation and knowing that she has attackers all around her, just coming out and opting to punch and just get it out of there. I think it was a really solid play on her end.
10 seconds left in the first extra time session. Physical dispossession by the Bisons. Low ball sent forward for Grant. 4 seconds to go. Not going to be enough time for anybody to find the winner in this extra time session. So we'll head to a second and final 10-minute extra time session. Still scoreless after 100 minutes in South Nashville. And the final 10 minutes or less could be the most exciting yet. We'll be right back with you for the conclusion of this match in 60 seconds. Scoreless after extra time period number 1. We are back in Nashville, and we know we are only going to be with you for 10 more minutes no matter what happens. West Bowling and Ben Wright here for the conclusion of Lipscomb and Liberty, whatever it may bring us. We're in the final 10-minute extra time session between two teams who are looking to go to the top of the table in their division. Scoreless game, despite numerous chances, especially for the Bisons. 12-7 the shot tally in favor of the ladies wearing gold. 6-2 shots on goal, and yet Liberty continues to play consistent last gasp defense along that back line to keep this one notched to 0.
They've really frustrated Lipscomb, who have had the bulk of possession and the bulk of the dangerous chances. And I think Liberty have just done a really good job sticking to what they do best and not panicking, but staying organized and really forcing Lipscomb to half chances and keeping the game in front of them. They've been excellent tonight, and I think this is clearly why they're one of the best defensive sides in the country.
The wind has been whipping around, and you can still hear it. The chances have been whipping in from the flanks for the Bisons all night long, and yet Melody Jaro has been a sure-handed keeper. The center backs have been positioned extremely well. It's been referenced this defense has been undaunted for Liberty, the best in the A-Sun. And they foiled the best attack in the conference, this Lipscomb team. They have 10 more minutes to try to do it, and also certainly would not count out this Liberty counterattack. They've got some incisive forwards of their own. It is Lipscomb moving left to right as the team switch sides for the final 10-minute golden goal session. The next goal wins it. If after 10 minutes we are still deadlocked, then we'll settle for a draw. Each team gets a point, and both will stay at the top of the table. Lipscomb will have possession to kick us off. 10 minutes remaining. Questions to be answered. Who will provide the answer? Could it be Lipscomb here? It looks like they're going to have a set piece from 15 yards inside the center stripe, and as she has done all night, Shelby Kraft is going to step up to it and try to deliver this one into the night and deliver Lipscomb into the win column. 6 bodies on the edge of the box for the Bisons. Kraft backspins this one outside the 6. And once again, when there's a ball to be won inside the 18, it has been won by Liberty. Their aerial duel percentage has to be astronomically in their favor. Ball sent back in. Grant tries to half volley it the direction of Byler. She's foiled in her attempt. Oliver, a bullet of a clearance off a shin of a teammate and back the way of Katya Hanger. McGee tried to keep it in, couldn't do so. So the first minute of the final extra session has belonged to Lipscomb.
I mean, it's what we've seen from them all night. They've controlled the bulk of possession, and they've been able to kind of find more lanes into the final third. But once you get around the box, Liberty has just been rock solid, and they've really shut things down as soon as you get around the penalty area.
Wheeler tried to slip one through for Grant. Good vision by the defense to disrupt. Jamison. Back to Avery Belk. Jamison.
Good tackle.
Splendid tackle there.
And a great ball,
That
too.
was Byler who sends one searching for Grant. Grant toward the near corner flag, waiting for her teammates to catch up. Will pull one back toward the edge of the area. You wonder if she could have waited another second there to let the numbers gather.
I think she just got a little bit impatient there. She had space. The defender wasn't right on her, and she could have taken another touch or two and really waited for the rest of her team to get up and into the box. It's hard to call that a missed opportunity, but it's one that you'd like to see a little bit more patience there.
I suppose after 102 minutes of scoreless soccer, I might be a bit impatient too as an attacker. Can certainly understand the inclination. Hanger, nice crossover move to get rid of Maddie Oliver. Technical skill is profound on this pitch tonight. Rogers tries to usher one forward. Sent back the direction of Byler. Able to stay on her feet. Tremendously physical tackle there, though. Draws the whistle. 3 steps inside the stripe. 7 minutes to go before we call this one a draw.
Byler has been excellent in midfield tonight. She's ridden all kinds of challenges. She's really maintained possession well, and then she's on top of that, she's able to pick her head up and find a great passing lane.
Ball sent in to the edge of the area, cued by Kraft, the direction of blue shirts. Back to Kraft at the elbow. Shelby Kraft, tremendous one-on-one player, but can't sneak that one by her defender. McGee clangs into the defender. Play continues despite both players being shaken up, and now there's the whistle from the referee. I think they assumed that the referee would give them a chance to recover from a hard, innocent, but physical collision. And he ultimately does, and it will be a drop ball the direction of Liberty. And they will call the trainer on. Well, the trainer started to come on and will now, yeah, it looks like that's going to happen. So what that means is that Liberty's going to have to send Jamison off, at least for a moment. If the trainer comes on, you have to leave the match, but it can literally be for just a matter of seconds before you're waved back on. Jamison with a tissue to her face. Doesn't look like she's going to be out for too terribly long, but she will, well, she's just going to step out. There is a substitution, but it was not for her. Coming in was Rachel DeRuby. She's going to enter for Grace Spade. One attacker for another, 2 starters for this Liberty team. So it'll be a drop ball here, and we're waiting for the referee to throw this one down. Looks like it'll be a contested drop ball. Initially won by Lipscomb. Whistle goes against the Bisons. Often you would see Lipscomb just asked to play that back to the Liberty keeper there. It was a 50-50 collision that resulted in the injury in the drop ball. Instead, that one contested. But same result, Liberty comes away with it. Now a back pass almost given away.
Really coming in with this press here.
Lipscomb applying the pressure. If Liberty can break through it, they might have space on the other end, but here they can't. 4 minutes into the final 10 of this match. Golden goal soccer, it doesn't get much better than this. Wheeler deflects over to McGee. Stab back to Grant. Molly Grant, rocket of a shot saved.
That was an excellent shot.
A rope from the elbow, and once again the player of the night, Melody J-Rowe, up to the task of stopping it.
Yeah, Grant caught a hold of that one really well. A little bit more towards the far post, and you think it would test J-Rowe a little bit more, but she did really well to hold on to that, and a good look for Lipscomb.
It's the 7th save of the night for J-Rowe. She's obviously not allowed one to get past her. 7 shots on target for Lipscomb, 13 total efforts tonight in the direction of goal, and yet 105 minutes in, futility. Thanks to the keeper who was awarded ASUN Keeper of the Year honors a year ago. The Plano, Texas native grew up in the FC Dallas Academy. All freshman team in the Big South all the way back in 2017. And when this program made the transition to the ASUN, she did not change her excellent performance. McGee miscommunicates. I think she thought she was going to have Wheeler running down that right flank, and for the second time, miscommunication results in Wheeler going the other way.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times where she's wanted Wheeler to make that run to the corner flag, and Wheeler's opted to go inside. It's not quite on the same page.
Splendid dispossession by Kraft. Back the direction of McFadden. McFadden puts all her body into that right-footed cannon down the pitch. Lipscomb not connecting well in the final third in the waning moments of this match. 4 minutes before this one's declared a draw. But you did see the Bisons put one on target just a minute and a half ago. Maddie Oliver. Foul as Shelby Kraft got her hands up, and that means a free kick for the Flames. And as you would expect, they're going to try to send this one toward the area and try to find an effort on goal. Cora Dunning will step into this one. The preseason ASUN Defensive Player of the Year launches. Lobbing ball up, caught in the wind. McFadden cues it high and away. Back to Dunning. She can do it again. She will do it again. This one bending dangerously. Graham comes up, bobbles it initially, but then pulls it in. Good read there by C.J. Graham, freshman keeper, to make sure that Liberty didn't have a shot there.
And it was good communication, too, from McFadden to kind of let her know that she had time to come out for it, and she was clear of attackers. It's a good veteran move.
3 minutes away from both teams getting a point and a draw after 110 hard-fought minutes. But we do have a couple minutes until then for somebody to break out a piece of magic. And you get the feeling there's a play left to be made in this contest. Don't know by whom. Could be by anybody. But this one's been way too back and forth for a scoreless match, for something not to transpire here late. Graham skies it just across the stripe. Knotted high. Hanger. To Kraft. Over the top, Kraft was looking for Grant. The target player for this attack applies pressure and is going to win a throw for Lipscomb in the attacking third. 2 minutes to go. Late substitution for Lipscomb. It's going to be Grace Oliver coming in for Cammie McGee, an attacking substitution.
You know, Liberty they're leaving 2 forwards up. We haven't seen that from them yet tonight. Looks like they're trying to open this up a little bit more and go for it here.
They know they're one counterattack away, and that's what it's going to take. Instead, the whistle goes against the Bisons. And with a minute and a half to go, if Liberty can try to put this one into its attacking end, it can essentially run out the clock with either a score by them or a draw. Weiler, oh, hard collision there, head to head. Weiler holding her face but gets up quickly, tough player. They will blow the whistle here. Good call by the referee to spot that and let the player who was holding her face stand up and recover for just a moment before allowing play to continue. Clock does stop for that. Minute 8 left.
Can get the sense of urgency from Liberty, though, just wanting to go after it immediately. They're really pushing numbers forward more than we've seen, and it feels like they're trying to open it up and really go after this goal.
These teams may be even, but nobody is playing for a draw. With 1 minute to go, both teams want to be in sole possession of first place in their division, and with 50 seconds to go now, it looks like it might just be Liberty or both teams. Lipscomb going to have a hard time getting it down the length of the pitch and scoring at this point. The Flames, contrary to what's happened for most of this night, have it in Lipscomb's defensive third. Oliver steps over onto her left foot. Physical clearance, corner kick Liberty, 30 seconds and counting. There will be no stoppage time. In 25 seconds, this game will expire, which means this is going to be the final chance for either squad tonight. Clock at 20. Corner kick for the Flames will be taken by Cora Dunning. Raises her left arm. Spins it. Edge of the 6. Headed high. Graham loses out. And a foul is going to be whistled on Liberty. And that is going to do it. It is only fitting that a scoreless draw that featured back and forth action would end with the ball headed into the 6 and foiled. That has been the story of tonight. And the story on the final scoreboard is a scoreless draw that does not necessarily represent the quality of attacking soccer that was played tonight. Lipscomb and Liberty each share the point. Lipscomb will go to 2-0-1 in conference play. Liberty 2-1-1, which means these teams will remain tied atop the table in their division of the A-Sun. Lipscomb, of course, with the game in hand. Ben, your thoughts on the contest?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw Liberty come out and do what they do best. They defended, they frustrated Lipscomb, limited them to half chances for the most part, and then towards the end when they knew that they were still in the game late, they opened it up and went for it. We saw half chances there at the end for them as well, and I think it was just two defensively solid teams, and I think defense was the main element that we saw on display here tonight. But I mean, good attacking soccer at points from both teams, and I think overall the draw is a fair result. Two quality sides sharing a point here tonight.
Lipscomb outshoots Liberty 13-7, 7-2 on target. I think it's safe to say that the woman of the match today has to be Melody J-Rowe, the Liberty keeper, with 7 saves.
Yeah, I think she was excellent. She came up big, especially on that free kick that we talked about. Obviously, the clearance off the line wasn't her, but another good element of defending. I think J-Rowe just organized the back line really well. Under pressure for most of the night, too. I think you saw her stay composed and help organize things, and Liberty just did an excellent job keeping the game in front of them, and a lot of that comes down to vocal leadership at the back, and I think that was on display from J-Rowe tonight.
Good shout there. 6 saves for the keeper and 1 for a defender off the line. Player of the night for Lipscomb, Emmanuel Schueck. 5 shots, 4 of them on target. 5 shots for Lipscomb tonight of the 13 that they took. Next up for Lipscomb, a trip to Ben's hometown of Louisville, Kentucky to take on Bellarmine. The first time those two teams have ever played since Bellarmine ascends into A-Sun play from Division II. Kickoff Sunday, and then it's a trip to Liberty. These two teams, a grudge match in Lynchburg, Virginia next week. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been a blast to be with you tonight. No goals on the scoreboard, but plenty of fun to be had as Lipscomb and Liberty share the spoils, a scoreless draw. We'll talk to you again soon.